Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. And of course, welcome to this Q&A session following the presentation about Stora Trenddagen 2021, following the trends for 2022.
Correct.
Super exciting to be here live from NCS Colors office at Stockholm, Sweden. With me here, of course, you recognize these two guys, trend guru, founder of Stora Trenddagen, Stefan Nilsson, aka Trend Stefan.
That's me.
Also, Kenneth Hågård, my colleague here at the NCS Color, color specialist and sales manager in direct sales.
Correct, yeah.
We are so happy to have all of you joining here today, that you've hopefully watched the presentation of Stora Trenddagen, especially now when we had to do it live for obvious reasons and not sitting in front of you or standing in front of you in a big presentation. We are today over 600 people, closer to 700 actually, and from 27 countries. Super impressive, I think. So I hope you've seen the presentation either in English or Swedish. This will obviously be done in English, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible. My name is Elin Askfeldt. I'm the CEO of NCS Color, and I will be your voice here today. So with the presentation, we hope that you received a lot of information and inspiration. Hopefully it triggered some ideas and some thoughts, and hopefully also questions. So that's why we're here. We have the email address ask@storatrenddagen.se, which we will monitor throughout this 1 hour live Q&A session. But please feel free also to send your question directly in the chat forum here at Teams. And we will have our great colleagues here monitoring it frequently to make sure that we don't miss out on anything. At least we'll do our best trying to follow up as many as we can. All right, so before we get into your questions, I thought a good idea and interesting for the reasons why we are here. So related to trends and trend forecasting. And I thought it would be interesting for these two gentlemen to elaborate a little bit more on that topic. So do we need trend forecasting, and why do we need that? Stefan, would you like to start to elaborate on that?
Trend forecasting. Do we need trend forecasting? Well, it depends on how you define trends, of course, obviously. Trends is a way to understand our behavior of today and also where we're going. I think, of course, I mean, a lot of people define trends differently. Some people define it sort of like as fads and fashion and fast moving things, but it can also be a longer term evolution as well. But to me, I'm mainly interested in trends as in behavior, when we value something, when we dream of something, when we want something or need something. That's the trends that I find most interesting. But of course, I also see the shorter versions as well. Do we need trend forecasting? I think it's a good way to understand our world, to understand the community or where we're going, and us as a community where our drives are. So that could be interesting. I know that Kenneth wants to say that trends are important to sell your stuff.
But what do you see what is the purpose?
I mean, trend forecasting is to understand where the majority of the people are moving. Are we going to become urban expats? That's going to be setting a new wave of behavior compared to if we're going to be urbanites, if we're going to be living in the cities. So that's a tool to understand where we are, where our needs are. So therefore, you would need trend forecasting.
Great. Kenneth, you obviously come from a color perspective.
Yeah, from the color perspective, yeah.
And all colors obviously already exist.
Correct. I mean, you don't invent new colors. They are already there. So I think that color trends, you will need them because the eye will always search for something that's new and exciting. And the color is such a quick communicator. So if you have seen a lot of beige sofas and brown colors, you will definitely want to see something else. So, and I mean, you always, I mean, look at the way products. If you release a new car model, you have a bright color on that one because you wanted to catch your eye. And if you want to release a new kitchen, you have a bright color. Maybe it's not the one that will sell the product in the end, but at least you want to get their attention. So I would definitely think that the eye will always seek other color combinations that you are not used to. So so you will always look for something else, and that is great in the color trends, combined with what you're going to say.
Good. Stefan, you first came up with Stora Trenddagen, I believe, 10 years ago. So you've been doing these type of trend forecasts for 10 years. Is there something that's different doing it now compared to 10 years ago?
Well, our world has definitely changed for the last 10 years. And I said that also in the presentation. I mean, we're talking about how constantly being monitored or scrutinized over social media. And that's something that occurred around 2010. And that's definitely changed over the last 10 years. I forgot your question already. I'm going to do that a lot because I talk a lot. So I'm going to continue forgetting your question, or I'm going to answer in a different way. Or
either is fine. I'm sure it's all going to be.
But I mean, you said if it's changed. Well, I think that we've had a period of time when fashion has become really important, and we're therefore fashion references and fashion speeds and everything that's sort of like associated with fashion. It's either in or out. It's sharper. That's where it is now. So it's much more harder. So it's a harder line. It's either beige or not beige. There's like no in betweens now. 15, 20 years ago, there would have been a softer transition over to other trends. So it's either stools or armchairs. It's either or.
And if you miss that, you will be hopeless.
Yeah. There are definitely. I mean, we laugh at people who are out, who's doing the wrong choices. I mean, who's having the wrong kitchen. We're laughing at them even if it's too modernized or too unmodernized. I mean, so we're laughing at people who are not on track of the trends. Yeah, that's where we are right now. And therefore, I'm not saying it's important, but that's where our society is.
And Kenneth, NC's Color been around for over 40 years now, and so has our trend forecasting. So what's your take? Has that changed over the last few years?
I think that I think we've been more focused on colors. Yes, I think colors are becoming more and more important, and the right colors and the right color combinations is becoming more and more important. And I think also as a consumer are more aware and select products based on what we see. So I think colors are important to communicate what you want to send the message, and you make very quick associations with colors. So if you're there, you get it, or if you're not. So
again, it's important to keep track on.
I think so.
Yeah. We receive a lot of questions. That's great news. Continue to send these in. And before we get into slightly more detail, I guess it's impossible not to touch upon the very special year that we just left behind us. So
the magnificent 2020.
The 2020 we will all remember for different reasons. But how do you see the trends that we did now for 2022 would have been different if year 2020 would be, let's say, more of a normal year?
When I took stage early January last year, one of the key trends that I was talking about that people also sort of liked and it touched them was that I talked about that term happy. We've had a long term of sort of fear of recession, the Trumpism, sustainability issues, the climate crisis. There are lots of things. So we were driving for a happiness, brighter colors, happy attitude, happy services, basically things that make you happy, and socialized, of course. And that did not occur last year because of the pandemic, because we were forced to stay home. And so therefore, colors were calmer, I would say. So definitely we did not see that of last year. So that was a wrong prediction for me in that sense. But I do think we see the happy attitude in this year when we're talking about the future, which is the color of the comeback kit.
Yep, that's right. And Kenneth?
I think the color trends that were presented last year, many of them, I think some of them was really quickly adopted. Like some other things during the Corona crisis, that was really, you adopted very quickly because they needed a change. But it's hard to say that I think it would have been a normal year, because I think there were not so many fairs, there was not so many exhibitions, so there was not many places to expose new things. So I think colors in that way got a little bit held back by the lack of opportunity to show them. Do you think, what do you say? You didn't go to as many fairs as you usually do.
No, absolutely. I think that we're going to see a long-term effect of this in the interior design field or in the trend field, if you want to. Yeah, definitely. As I also said initially when I took the stage, it's like, we don't have the energy or courage enough to foresee anything longer than 2-3 months ahead because of the pandemic. So, and I think that's still accurate. I have no idea what's happening in summer. Do you? Kenneth, looking at you now.
I just cross my fingers because it's sunny.
No, our board is going to be closed. Do we all have vaccine or not? Are there going to be like a new version of the virus? We don't know. So 2-3 months, I would say, at the most.
Good. Okay, let's go into some questions from you then, slightly more detailed.
Oh, okay.
And the first one comes from somebody working with plants. So starting with you again, Stefan, what green trends do we see today and in the future, and especially based on these?
I have my green fingers.
Perfect.
I have a summer house here in Sweden, so of course, as a very trendy thing, I have a summer house. So I garden. I'm trying to be green. I have been trying to produce my own edibles. I've tried to do my greens, my carrots, my potatoes, and I've tried that, but it's not been so successful. I'm not that good, apparently. And I also see that we're sort of like shifting from the functional garden, having a garden for functionality reasons, to more like an experience garden where you just basically you hang out in. And you can see that also that, so we're going to be using our gardens more as a leisure area. So we're going to be casually, I've said it before, we're going to have room divisions in the garden. So we're going to have a kitchen, we're going to have a resting area, we're going to have an active area, we're going to have a kids area. So we're going to have more rooms in the garden. That's also because we invest more in gardening. Interior wise, absolutely, I also said that in the presentation that the interest in houseplants is growing because it's also like a tool to show that I'm a caring person. There's like tons of references also internationally. They're saying like how the millennials, the Gen Z, whatever Kenneth is calling them, they're not able to partner with anyone. So they're not getting a partner, but they can at least keep a houseplant alive. So people are, caressing and loving and taking care of houseplants more. So we see a bigger interest in houseplants. And you can see that also now how it's changing from very generic houseplants to more specific and unusual houseplants. And you see that the shapes of the leaves, it's dotted, it's colored. And I also talked about the effect. I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. But we talked about the effect. We talked about the effect of houseplants also from a functional perspective, saying that houseplants that's cleaning the air is also a good choice.
But no more Monstera.
Monstera is so 2009. That's so 2009. No, I'm just kidding. But Monstera is something. But there's also the same thing with trends. When something's being accessible, because in a trend, it needs to be at that sort of like level of curiosity, something that's unreachable that not everyone has. Look at, for instance, at one of the hype trends, which is right now tennis paddle. Do you know? I don't know if it's called tennis paddle in English. Paddle in English. Paddle. This summer, everyone was talking about paddle, and they were like, no paddle fields where you can actually play paddle. But now they're opening more. I think that there's the increase of the number of paddle stations increased in Sweden last year 500%. And therefore it's not inaccessible anymore. And when it's accessible for everyone, the hype goes over. And that's sort of like the same thing with Monstera. I mean, when everyone has a Monstera,
it's hopelessly out again.
You're hopelessly out.
Unexpected to have a similarities between Monstera and paddle tennis.
Is it though? Is it though?
And green plants?
Green plants, sorry, that's not really my field.
You have a summer house as well.
I have a summer house, and we try to grow things. It is new for me that we're gonna have different areas in the garden. I'll start working on that. Yeah, but I don't know.
Start with the kitchen. Everyone starts with the kitchen.
Okay, all right.
Of course, cooking.
Cooking, yeah.
Cooking outside.
And then we had one of the participants said, liked all the trends, and said 3 out of 4 was easy to see to what products they would use and be adapted, except from square one. So where do you think that we will see square one most likely? In the office, public spaces, or at home? Who wants to start?
I'll talk to Beth. Isn't it? Kenneth.
Should I start? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I think this is, so, as I said in the presentation, I think this is kind of restrained color composition. So it's not super crazy. So I think it's going to be on more, maybe a public area or an exhibition, something where you show a little bit more. Maybe not so much like a cozy cottage house, but probably a little more modern, industrial, yeah, something like that, I would guess. Product, yeah, why not? I think that if you look at, like interior products, like a couch, carpets, wallpaper, things like that, something that go in interior could definitely go in this.
But you're not saying that we should paint our homes in white?
No,
more.
No. As I said, no. The white and the black is just contrast to the blue and the grays. So you should not go away from the white walls, please.
I would agree, and I would emphasize what Kenneth said. I think that we're going to see these colors in exhibitions, stands, fairs, where you want to get attention. So shops, I would see them. I think that a lot of the Swedish fashion brands right now, if you go to Stockholm and you want to go see the Acne flagship store, you'll see the same color combinations, and Axel Arigato. I know there are a lot of Swedes there, so therefore I can name drop. But if you go to any of these fashion flagship stores, you'll see this. That's where you'll see it. So it's going to be very forward oriented and very like city and urban, as you said, and absolutely, styling, definitely, magazines, definitely.
And also the metals.
Yeah, definitely,
the white metals,
absolutely. Like the white metals.
Yeah.
And on the same topic, you added one color.
Yeah,
I believe to that.
I did. Can I borrow the mustardy yellow? It's not really mustardy yellow, but yeah.
How did the brown color in square one get in there? Is the question.
Well, I needed dirtiness with the colors because I think it needs to be bouncing off something ashy. That's why I need it. So I need
it's too clean.
It's too clean, otherwise it's going to be too harsh and hard lines and too graphic. But if you add, we had also initially in one of the first pictures, I have a concrete wall, but it could also be like an ashy wall or warmer tones with that. So it needs these colder hues, needs a bit of warm in it to bounce off. That's why I need it.
Okay.
Crystal clear? I hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very cold colors. I agree with that.
Definitely. To something totally different. How do you think we should think about the notion that all we need is already produced? So more related to products.
Yes, I said that, and I'm also not the only one who said that, because I referred to one of the fairs saying like, all fabrics is already produced. We don't need to produce any more fabrics. I said that, and that, as I said, it's a reference to one of the fairs who said that. How should a producer approach that? Well, of course, I think you need to be aware of where, again, with trends, you need to be aware of where the market is going, and then you can sort of course, try to refer to that and marry that. So I know that I saw the email from the person who sent this question, and I also been in contact with that specific company. And what they're doing is they're doing shelves, and the metal racks that they're doing is made of recycled, materials, recycled metals. For instance, like old fridges from Norway. Communicate that bigger, because it's like then it's upcycled, then it's an upcycled product. But also the shelving, and this is what I specifically wrote about, because there's also, you can buy planks that's made out of recycled plastic bottles. Isn't that cool? It looks like marble. Isn't it wonderful? So use that. So again, approaching that is kind of interesting as well, saying like we are aware of, we don't want to use any new resources, but rather reuse resources that's already been done. You get it. And that's a communication aspect of things. I think, again, realizing that people don't want to buy new things, that's also why IKEA, Servera, Norrgaven and all these other brands are doing these lines when they're doing vintage, because they're realizing the only way to attract interest is by not communicating, not producing anything anymore, but rather work with the things that you already produced. You get it?
Absolutely.
Is that nostalgia? Or?
Absolutely, as well. Yeah, that's also a nostalgia, but it's also then an awareness thing. I don't want to buy things that's taking anything from Mother Earth. I'd rather be reusing things. That's absolutely from a sustainable and political aspect.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
On
Stefan's
products. Well, I think it's a little bit sad if everything is already produced, but
this is the same thing. Can I start? Can I stop you? I also heard someone saying that the color of the future is going to be brown, because again, with all these recycled materials, everything's going to have a brown shimmer. So the crispiness is going to go out simply out of logic. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And is that true or not? Is that something we want or not? But that's also something that we have to take into consideration. Maybe everything in our world will be brown because it's going to be recycled. It's kind of sad, but still, we have to, Sorry about that.
But luckily still we have a number of vibrant colors.
Yeah, and sustainable vibrant colors.
And sustainable, yes, edible.
Especially these in this trend. Because that's organic pigments that you can get on these colors. So I think that would definitely be, and I think these washed out colors are also,
I actually do have a question about color trends.
Yes.
Are color trends in interior trends getting more similar to fashion trends? Thinking about seasons.
No. I don't, because fashion trends are moving much quicker. So you will see the fashion will probably always be like a little bit ahead, a little bit crazier. Because when you talk to interior, it's probably something you're going to invest in, going to have a longer lifespan. And it should have a longer lifespan, talking about sustainability.
Yes.
No, I don't think, well, I think if there's some shift in that, I think that we've probably been a little bit more eager to adopt new colors for interiors, while I think in the future where probably the changes might not be that big, or everything's going to be a little bit longer lasting, or so you're going to be working with the same kind of shades. We'll see.
But isn't it also that it's based on seasons, but in a different way? In summer, spring, summer, you focus more on exterior, and the rest of the year you can move. You should spend a lot of time inside your home, and then it's more focused on interior trends.
Yeah, I think like most people, everyone spend more time inside. So I think that is also creating a trend when it comes to changing colors of your home. But when it comes to season, I don't think we will be that quickly adopting. But maybe we could do some changes in our home if we have like one rug in the summer, we have another one in the winter to have some cozier colors, or maybe if you're in the summer house, you have a color palette that is a little bit based on the summer because you are there in the summertime. Or so I think there are some changes based on the seasons, but I don't think you're gonna have a kitchen for the summer and another kitchen for the winter. No. I don't do that.
No, that's not what we're going to do. We also got a question about lighting. So how can we apply this or these 4 trends, or one of them, related to light?
I talked a little bit about that in the presentation, because I think these colors are the more chromatic colors here, are colors that could be applied as LED lights in appliances or in products or in the interior, where you use light to sort of change the color of the atmosphere. And I think that is something that, I mean, the car industry has already started with this. And I think that you probably see it more on more technical products that will shift in lights and create some kind of atmosphere with colored lights.
So this one especially.
I'm going to say that, yeah.
I think that we're going to see more lights, obviously, because we spend more time at home. I think also we're going to have a homelier expectation of our public space. So therefore, we're going to have a variety of more lights everywhere, both at home and also at public spaces, because we're working there. So we're going to have so I'm not talking about the colors of the lights, but rather than the efficiency. It's going to be bluer, it's going to be more yellow, it's going to be different. But I think definitely more light spots we're going to have. I think definitely we still see a continuing thing with the sculptural lights, where they actually sort of like, you see the lamp, so it's not hidden like these are, but rather you see it, if it's a pendulum or if it's a floor lamp or whatever, but you see the lamp, and it's kind of large because it's a sculpture as well. But yeah, and all trends need light, right?
Of course. Funny that how much interest trend number 4 is receiving. So we have more questions on that topic. Regarding trend number 4 and the black and white, can it be only black and white, or should it be a contrast color?
They are, yeah.
What do you want to say?
Okay, can it be only black
I
and
understand the
white,
question. I can answer.
or is it always a contrasting color? Yeah.
I mean, it's I think the best way is if it's a combination. You have the black and the white, and also with something else. And I think that blue is important. We talked about that. Something new is something blue or whatever. But that was when I was talking about the Balearic breeze, because that's the same beige trend that we've seen before. But also blue as a carrier throughout the trends, I would say, because blue is something that's also different from the terracotta hues we've seen before. So blue is a sharper and crisper thing. That's also, so yeah, blue together with, and you like the gray. We've talked about that as well. You are very fond of the gray. Yes. Elin says
that
yes.
sounds very boring.
so with the gray, why not add a bit of blue? Because then sort of like, yeah, it's kind of like nice.
Yeah, the white and the black should not be dominating.
No, not only black and white, definitely not. That's right, absolutely.
And what do you think about, again, related to trend number 4, what do you think about patterns, colors, finishes on walls? Black, white, bluish on details such as chairs. So patterns, and then how to use them again.
Graphical. I would say that's a very quick answer, and then you can continue. No, but I think it's definitely graphical. So you see like sharper lines with everything. It could be like a swirl as well, but I mean it's gonna be graphical.
It's not gonna be flowers.
Definitely not in this trend. Not a romantic thing.
Things not coming back now.
Sorry, they
sponge things.
Yeah. Oh, maybe in the Comeback Kid, because that's the 80s one. But no.
Yeah, I think graphical lines, squares, swirls, but not any small dotted things. No.
All right. Now we're getting questions related to what was said in this live Q&A.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Did I? Was I truthful?
We'll see. Stefan said we don't know what will happen in summer. Will there be a new trend update from us then? Interesting.
Well, we've had a conversation, Elin.
No, we did.
We'll see. we'll see how this goes. If it's an interest, absolutely, we'll see. I think that the whole trend speed is going to slow down in general. At the same time, we're looking for more answers because no one knows where we're going. But I think that in general, so there's like two movements at the same time. So everything's going to slow down, but we're also looking for more answers. So at the same time, I think we're going to see for the next perhaps coming years, we're going to see varieties of these 4 trends, but not many huge changes. So for instance, like we talked about the reds before, you talked about that as a trend from last year, and we don't see any more reds into the sharpness. And I've said that terracotta is out, so definitely, so that's leaving, and that's not going to come back for a while. But rather, we're going to see versions of this. I think so. For the longest, and maybe we'll find different content when we talk about the blue and the gray. Maybe we'll find a different word for it. Now we tend, because you and I, when we talked about, also with Kenneth, but when we talked about it, we talked about fashion, you and I, a lot. You talked about the French fashion brands. They do everything in the gray together with like a soft blueness, and everything's like super premium and exclusive and expensive. And maybe we'll call it something else, but I think that the same colors are gonna stay for a while. But we'll call it a different name. Maybe we'll call it like the fun black and white trend next time. I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't think so.
Crazy.
Not sure about that.
No, this is not fun. This is not fun.
No, that's the fun.
This is fun. Yeah.
So it's more related to when we get more answers. That's kind of when we know more on how these trends will develop.
Yeah.
Or stay or.
I think so. I definitely think that, I mean, out of all these 4 trends, I think that these 2 are the future, definitely. So we're going to see more versions of these 2, definitely. This is something that's sort of like now, this is a nowness to it, and this is the future, I would say. You look skeptical, Kenneth.
Yeah, always skeptical. But well, if you say so.
Yeah.
But I think also we are in the beginning of a year, and it's gonna be product launches this year as well as many other years. It will be different shapes and different forms and how they do it and how they will reach out. But I think definitely there will be sort of like the same annual pattern will still be here. So even though we can't foresee more than 3 months, I think we still have sort of like an annual pattern anyhow that's gonna present different new things anyhow. So it's going to be trends.
I think you said also something interesting, especially in the Swedish version of the presentation. I don't know if you said that in the English one, so you might have missed that. But when we talked about Balearic Breeze, we said that this is great for a kitchen, this color palette. This is great for a kitchen, but the cooker or the teapot should be blue. So not the whole cabinet should be blue, but the details. And I think that this is again something that we're going to be experimenting with. So we're going to keep this as a trend, but the teapot might be pea green instead of blue. So we're going to keep this as a trend, and that's going to be for long term, but it's going to be in the details. You see what I mean? So that's what I think. Crystal clear.
Crystal clear. To talk a little bit more about consumption, what is the future of retail?
When we don't want to buy anything. Well, I think.
Or will we?
I think, I absolutely think. When we talk about consumerism, we tend to put ourselves on high horses, and we say things like, we only want to buy quality things are long lasting, and I'm willing to save and then spend. These are the things that we say. At the same time, we have the cheap brand stores that's sort of like booming. So people are definitely buying a lot of things. I almost had a different word, but people are buying a lot of things. So even though we want to say that we only buy one thing, we still buy 10 small things. We do that. But I think it's important for retail to understand that our wish is to buy less. And how can we be a part of buying less? Can it be sort of like collecting, be H&M and say like the old winter jacket that you're not longer need because it's summer? Leave them with us and we'll give you a discount for the next purchase, whatever. But I think it's being a part of the non-consumerism story. That's important. And help people to buy better and buy less. how can you be, there's a new word when everyone's talking about this, which is called curator. When you go into a store, someone's taking your hand and basically, so how are you doing, Elin? Let's get a coffee. Let's have you sit down. And now, do you want to buy a table set?
Of course.
Yeah. So that curation thing, I have selected it for you. Take it easy. It's going to be again the experience. Yeah.
And a different experience.
And yeah, I think that's important. Also, that's where you can charge differently. That's also where your unique selling point is towards online, because you can't do that coffee experience online yet. We tried in the presentation, but I don't know if we were successful with the coffee experience.
So continue and develop on recycling, repurposing, all
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Kenneth?
Well, I think there is definitely more online. I mean, we are in that. I think we only seen the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And the online experience, and we are gonna. I think we will be. I think that we will be. I think they're going to be different purchases, of course. I think some things you just want to do quick and easy, and some things you would like to invest more time in and try to get the experience. It's hard to get it online. That's definitely a challenge. So I think what you are talking about, the coffee experience, that is something that will, of course, embrace you when you get there.
When the delivery can be the coffee experience, then the physical store has a challenge.
Yeah.
When I know there are like delivery brands, it's trying to make the coffee experience. Like when someone rings your door, like, "Hello, Elin, here I am with your tableware that you just bought, and also a cup of coffee." When you have that, then they're competing with the physical store. But not yet. There's no one there yet.
More futuristic questions. So how do you see development of the office? And I know you talked a lot about this.
Such a big question. How do we keep it short? Well, I said that we're going to do the hybrid work. So we're going to work 2 or 3 days home and 2 or 3 days from the office. I think that we're going to have huge challenges. You cannot overestimate that, because it's going to be so difficult to monitor your staff, to make everyone on the same track, feel connected, feel community. There's like so many issues. There's so many issues. I said that to you, Elin, today when I came here. You should do like a weekly quiz to your staff. I said that because this is so, again, this is and no one is talking about it. How do you feel a part of a group again? Because you're not meeting each other. Maybe Elin should go back and do the quiz. Maybe she'll have it for next week for Kenneth. We'll see. You'll do a color quiz or something. But yeah, huge challenges in office space, and we haven't seen the beginning of it. I mean, what are we going to do? There's like talks in Sweden now. Are we going to make office buildings into apartments? Because office space is going to be, yeah, but then they say that no, the quality is not good enough at the office space, and then they go like, really? And that's where I spend 8 hours per day. So yeah.
But are your home going to be an office?
I think that as well. I think it's going to be, as I hinted that as well, saying like when we started working from home, we said that we wanted to have a nice office space. Nice, that was the key. And then we changed because we got sore shoulders, so we changed to that we want to have a functional office space. So we want to have a better chair. And I think now for the next coming 2 or 3 months, because that's how far we can see, is boredom. You don't feel connected. I think that's going to be the next issue for until summer at least, and then we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, you especially miss the vibe and the colleagues. I mean, we're saying that today. I mean, it's the most number of people that you've seen in one place for a very, very long time, and we're not that many, we should say, at all here in the office today. Kenneth, office space?
I think that the office, as you were talking about the hybrid thing, working maybe not the full week, you'll have you would change that, and that would also be a challenge. I mean, is everyone going to be at the office at the same time or not? Are they going to switch? Do you need the big office space? But if you're in the office, you still would like to have the space. So I mean, you can't just pack it up. So there's many questions there.
And I guess we don't know the answers yet.
just know the colors.
Yeah. We just know we missed the office.
The colleagues.
Oh, and yeah, especially. And we actually got some more detailed NCS questions, Kenneth.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Yep. Is it possible to see the total of NCS colors in the circle and triangle compared to 20 and 21 trend colors?
I think
actually
we have it in the color trend book. One of the last pages. Isn't it?
There.
Here it is. No, that's only 22. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, I know this doesn't work at all on the screen. This is not good.
Everyone goes like, nice.
Oh, good. So this is the trend book that we have when we're presenting the trends that we have been working on. As we explained in the presentation, Stefan has his own trends, and we did a combination here. But here we have also the 2021 colors and the 2022 colors here. And they are not plotted in the color circle and the triangle. They know the way I like it. But anyway, there's how you can see it. And you can actually see the 2021 and 2020 colors in our color pin app. This is the color pin. It's a little color reader. And you can download something called color pin as an app. And in there, you can select a library if you want to have a database of NCS, all the 1,950 colors, the total range. Or you can have the 2020 trend colors or the 2021 trend colors. The 2022 colors is not launched yet. It will be launched later this year.
But soon it will be available 2021 and 22.
There as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, there you can see the different colors and compare it yourself as a color palette.
Great.
I think that is the best way to do it.
Yep.
And it's free to download the app. So
yep.
Just go ahead.
One other very specific NCS question. So it's somebody who has a very nice color on a carpet, apparently. So how do I know what NCS notation, NCS code it is?
I think visually you can compare color samples and things like that. I think this one was probably, again, this is a color reader. Download the app, buy a color reader. It's about 1,000, 1,200 Swedish crowns, something like that, or 100 euros, a little bit more, maybe 110. And you connect them. And this is, you connect them with the reader and you put it on a surface and you scan, and then you can get the color notation, the closest color, standard color. I think that is the quickest and easiest way to do it.
And you can, and there you can also see translations, right, between.
Yeah, we also have RAL, the RAL Classic database there. So if you have a RAL color and would like to know the NCS of it, or a sample of NCS and would like the closest RAL, you can do the translation there as well. And you can also, if you find the NCS colors, you also have RGB, CMYK, translations for screens and print. So I think that, go there, explore the colors.
Great. And then we have somebody who already missed the Christmas season. So how can we apply these trends on the Christmas season?
Yes.
That's for you.
I love Christmas.
Will we get something else like red?
I love Christmas. No, I've also been thinking about Christmas. I honestly have been thinking about Christmas because what are we going to do without the fairs? No, I'm really, honestly, very puzzled. And I've been talking to people in the industry. Again, I do these constant interviews. And I think that one of the short answers is that we're going to keep the same Christmas trends as we did last time. I mean, so Christmas 2020, because we're not going to be able to find any new things because they're not going to be in the fairs, you know? So we're going to keep them, maybe some small alterations. Again, I mean, if you look at the colors here on the table, you don't really see the red over there. Can you show the red? Right? So,
the deep dark red.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
you don't see it.
It's totally
you have to pull it out. Yeah. No, anyway, so so this is very much of a historic trend, and then this is a very like earthy trend, then a colorful, fun trend, and here's a very futuristic trend. So of course you can interpret all these things into Christmas. Absolutely, but it's super difficult. I have no idea. I mean, honestly, I have, and again, it's like 11 months until Christmas. So, and I realized all of those of you who are like buyers out there, because I know there's a few buyers. I think that the easy answer is to stick to the stock you have. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be boring. I'm not saying it's going to be a boring Christmas, but it's.
Christmas is never boring.
It's never boring, but yeah. Sorry, I wish I could have said something very strange and fun and quirky.
I think it goes in hand what you said, where everything has already been produced.
Everything has already been produced. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that we're going to have new, like, how sort of like the Christmas sweater occurred. I mean, all of a sudden everyone was wearing funny knitted Christmas sweaters that costed nothing. I don't think we're going to have new things like that. I think that we're going to keep what we had and see like smaller extensions, smaller varieties of the things that we have. Ooh, sort of sad. But maybe it's a good that we're calming down 1 year, right?
But we're not moving closer to any of these.
I mean, it's very easy to say, because always when it's Christmas, there's always a traditional Christmas. Someone calls it Scandinavian. We call it traditional. It's with the reds, the greens, and it's very like nature oriented. And then you have a quirky and fun Christmas trend, which is like and now you go to more towards the 80s and the purple and the fuchsia. Say fuchsia, can
no.
No. and then you have something else that's also like standing out, or then you have something that's sort of exclusive, and that could perhaps be this color trend that sort of stands for something that's more expensive, you know. And so yeah, there's always at least 3 trends that's kind of similar in content, but then you could have versions of it in colors and patterns and whatever.
I remember for Christmas you had this Santa Claus with a face mask.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that next year too.
Oh God, that's depressing. I don't want that for Christmas. That's so sad.
Anything to add on the Christmas
On the
theme?
Christmas, I haven't really thought, but I mean, we talked about the cold colors before in the 4th trend. Wintertime, cold, Christmas.
But then again, the story that you told with your the picture that you told with the colors from the first trend, with the Chesterfield easy chair or sofa, the rug in a certain color, and then the wooden panels on the walls, and then the open fireplace, and these colors, and I think it's also important to emphasize that that mustard yellow could be brass, so it could be gold still, so it's still towards that feeling. So. Yeah, it's. But if you talk about that Christmas, then it's definitely a very colorful and trendy Christmas.
Absolutely. All right, we have another color question. What is the balance between matte and shiny colors and materials in your trends? Will shiny and sparkly materials be on trend, or is it all matte?
You go ahead.
Okay. I would say. I think this, since this is a lot, when we talk a lot about this connection to nature here. So I think this would definitely be more matte colors, long-lasting, washed out, sun-kissed. So it's going to be matte. If you go to number 4 over there, the white. I think that'd
be the pointer.
That would probably be more. I would say that would be more shiny colors.
Yeah, the white metal.
Leather, things like that. Here I would also probably go a little bit more matte on this color trend. That one could be both ways.
Yeah, this is bananas.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, but this could also be plastics. I mean, recycled plastics or upcycled plastics or whatever. So
or sparkling.
Definitely.
Like metallic things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a very young thing. It's forbidden. You're breaking laws. You're breaking ethical laws. Aesthetic laws, not ethical. Aesthetic laws.
That's it.
Any law. Yeah, whatever.
Different.
A bit.
Now talking about all of these 4 trends, I have a question. What is your favorite trend of 2022? And what piece of something can we not be without?
I can start if you want to, yeah. No, I've learned to love these all four trends, obviously. I love the heritage side of the first trend that we called beetroot balance, and also the, you know, the goodness, the balance in life thing, and also like the easiness, the casualness of the Balearic breeze. But I do love the comeback kit, and of course there's like forbidden color combinations that I think definitely stands out. It's like this pea green together with this fuchsia and the purple. It's like. And I said that also on stage, when you're using these color combinations, you automatically see this is someone with guts and glory. This is a young person, and I wish it was me. I'm not young anymore.
Because that's quite dairy, especially
Definitely.
for
A middle-aged man.
Well,
Middle-aged man.
I was going to say sweet, but
yeah, definitely. That's something I like. I'm not so sure I want to have it in my home, but my eye draws to this.
And do you have a favorite product or something that we can't be without?
I think that I think we're going to start seeing it on house appliances. So maybe as a water kettle. Why not? You know, we talked about kitchen a lot. I mean, or why not the TV? You know, you have the purple legs and the pea green frame. Wouldn't that be cool? I think it would be super cool. You look skeptical, but I mean, yeah, no. This is my thing.
It sounds like my daughter, 2 years old.
Yeah, I am also 2 years old mentally. So,
but isn't that also a little bit like the Memphis, less Italian thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's fun. I think we've been proper for a while, quite long. I mean, especially now with the whole Scandinavianism. Everything's been so proper, and everything's been so nice, and it's hygge, and it's so like you have a throw over your lap, and a cat, and a cup of tea, and everything's been so like proper and nice. I'm bored of that. I want this because it's strange. I like that.
A little bit more wild and crazy.
Definitely.
That's where you go in.
Definitely. I'm not saying this is commercial, but this is where my heart goes. Yeah. I think this is the most commercial one. The one with in front of Kenneth.
Kenneth the commercial one.
Kenneth commercial. The beetroot balance. I think that is the most commercial of all four trends. Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite?
I do. Well, I think these two has what we talked about that they are. We talked about this about the sub aesthetics that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a little bit laid back with the sound case. I think I like that. It's not so you have to perform. You have to be presenting things. You can just never mind. You can just kick back and relax. And I think I like that as a trend. And I think that is also a healthy trend for people. You don't have to be like a superhero every day. I mean, you can a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, fine. That's good enough. The craziness, yeah, that's fun. And then we have the colors. I feel more at home over here, but that is so tickling. It's so sharp and it's so it's like a punch. Yeah. When you see it, so I think that it's good. And I like it because of that. But will I have it at home? Will I embrace it? Maybe not. Personally, I think probably I'll land over here in the commercial.
Yeah, commercial Kenneth. Commercial Kenneth
style. Yeah.
And is there something that we can't live without next year? Bringing into our lives?
I would say
a Corona dog.
No, I was not about to say that. I would say I was a handicrafted things. Going back to things like that is a little bit dented, a little bit.
The vintage thing as well.
A little knocked. Not so perfect. But, go for that.
Excellent. Just a couple minutes left. So many questions, but I thought that we'll finish up with, is there a question that you thought you would get or that you would ask if you were on the other side?
I want to ask Kenneth about the handbags.
I was waiting for that one.
I don't know. Everyone is always looking for the next thing. So that would be sort of like a logical question. It's like, okay, so now we're talking about colors for 2022. So what are the colors for 2023? And we basically touched on that by saying it's not going to be very different. This is going to be the base for a long while, at least until we're really over the pandemic and with all the consequences of that. So this is going to be the basis for a long while, I think. So yeah, if you're asking for colors for 2023, look at this and look at varieties. So like maybe more apricot, maybe more pink, maybe more blue, but still the basis is going to be here. That's what I think. So that would be but that would have been my question.
That would have been your question. Yeah.
A question that I didn't get. I think, where do I learn more about NCS?
Oh,
I didn't get that one. I think, but if you're asking this, you're wondering, I mean, where can I learn more about NCS? We have online courses. We have NCS. Can I say this? We're going to launch exterior and interior courses as well.
If the question is if you could tell this,
I know,
I think it's too late for me to answer.
Sorry. Today we have one online course. We're going to have more as it comes. So keep a track on that. What was the question?
What question would you have expected?
What I expected otherwise. I would expect someone asking what color should I use for my new kitchen or something like that.
Very specific.
Yeah, and that is hard to say. Just online like this. It depends on light and depends on the material and your budget.
Great. Whew. I think that was all the questions, and I think we managed to actually answer all of them. I'm sure they're going to pop up more from you. So let's stay in touch, of course. I hope that you, during this last hour, got more insights into the predicted trends, but also a chance to understand them better and how to use them. If you have somebody else you would like to recommend Stora Trenddagen to, the presentation is going to be available to purchase in NCS Color web shop in the next couple of days. ncscolor.com, of course, and there you can also buy. We didn't talk about the fabric.
I think we've been fiddling with it all day.
Yeah, but we hope that you received it in your post box, so you could actually have a feel and look at them closely while you were watching the presentation. But if you want to have more of them, of course, they are available there as well. We talked a little bit about the trend book, the NCS Color Trend book. So the analysis that we have done together with our network, the drivers behind, and all of that is going to be available in our web shop as well. We will also have a seminar. Maybe we should mention that more in detail about our trends and how we got to that. So digging deeper into that. If you want more in-depth analysis of your industry or just can't wait to listen to Stefan for a year, or who knows what's going to happen
in 6 months.
Then
Fingers
please
crossed.
reach out to Stefan, of course, and I mean, you know where to find us, I hope.
Yep.
So with that, we would like to say thank you so much for watching Stora Trenddagen, for joining us here today. This has been super exciting. I hope you think that as well. And we hope to see you next year, if not earlier. So goodbye and please take care.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.